morning, our wonderful community of small businesses, and I always like to say ladies and gents. I don't know, it's obviously an old habit, but it is my privilege to be doing our third SME Clinic Pandemic Proof Your Business session, and we have a very interesting guest this morning that offered her insight and time once we started this podcast, and just the brief discussions I had prior to this interview and chat with Nolene. You're really going to enjoy this. So it's our privilege to welcome this morning Nolene Thompson, who's the Managing Director of Ladybugs. And I'll let her tell you a little bit more about her business, but really what one of their expertise is supporting and helping businesses how to use LinkedIn for business. And as I said, just my conversation, I thought I was pretty au fait with LinkedIn, and I think she's going to share some amazing practical tips and also maybe some rumors or things that people think LinkedIn should be used for and the way they do and wonder why it doesn't work. So looking forward to some of those tips. But Nolene, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for having me. It's a wonderful privilege to be able to be sharing during this time. Adding value is something that is very close to my heart. It's something that I believe we should all be doing as people, let alone as businesses. So during this time, we've been doing a lot of different workshops for free with a lot of different businesses, just adding value, coaching, wellness, fitness, all those wonderful things that you can do in a confined space. So what I do for a living is Ladybugs is a company that helps with digital marketing, but with a focus on LinkedIn, because not a lot of people know how to use LinkedIn for business. It's not just a recruiting tool. It actually started as a networking tool when they started back in a few years ago.
Correct. Yes.
It started as a small business networking tool, and this is now an opportunity for us to continue to utilize it as a small business online networking tool.
So Nolene, what I thought as a sort of kickoff question was, I think a lot of people wonder, where do I start on LinkedIn? Do I start with my business? Do I start as an individual? And what should be my approach when really taking LinkedIn seriously to promote my business and the reputation of my business?
That's a very good question. I have seen a lot of companies that start a personal profile in their company name. If LinkedIn finds this, they will just cancel your account with no warning, which means that you shouldn't do that. So much like Facebook, and many people are used to Facebook. So Facebook, you have a personal account and you create a company page. LinkedIn works the same way. So you create your personal account, because remember, even in procurement and procurement processes, there's a person you're speaking to, and you want to know who that person is, and you're building a relationship with the person, not the brand. The brand is ultimately carried through your personal profile. So we start with your personal profile, setting it up that it tells people, what is it that you do? I don't, if you suddenly, I think that we spoke about it yesterday, if you're suddenly starting, you've been in footwear for I don't know how long, and now suddenly you're deciding, because it's COVID, we're selling hand sanitizers, and you're trying to get procurement departments, those procurement departments are going to be looking. What is your digital presence, and what is it saying? Oh, but it says your footwear. Okay, you're pretty dodgy. So you kind of have to make sure that your digital profile matches exactly what you're doing and offering as a company. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, and I think it speaks to something that is a bit of a mantra we understand in this space, even though we're dealing with small business and corporate, that people buy from people. And one of the things for a procurement professional when they are looking to onboard a small business that's, it's not Serviest, it's not 3M Pharmaceuticals that's been around and is huge. They want to look at the reputation. So exactly that, your LinkedIn profile needs to match what you are putting forward to the corporate. And, because you don't want to be seen as a tenderpreneur and someone that's just jumping on an opportunity but doesn't have the capacity or the knowledge to actually deliver, and that starts to raise red flags for the corporate. So very good point that you raised there.
Awesome.
Tell me, Nolene, now when a business is spending some time, because everyone's now in front of their computer 24/7 or their tablet or device, and they're now looking at their LinkedIn and they're starting to make connections, what is different, or what should be different right now under COVID-19? Because there's also a lot of messaging out there. I think a lot of people are feeling that it's almost too much messaging around virus, and what do you take as real? So what is your recommendation, as well as they're starting to set up and communicate to their network? What should they be saying?
Add value. So for me, it's about what can you do right now that can add value. If you've got an opportunity to offer, or know of someone that is offering free services of something, share that kind of content, share uplifting quotes, share a little video. So something that my clients have been dodging for the last 2 weeks is putting together their own little video that's just a minute and a half or so, kind of saying, guys, we're in this with you together. You know, let's be positive, let's remain. So just whatever is coming through from their direction. This video is not comfortable for me either. So I'm just putting that out there, that this has pushed me out of my own comfort zone. But people want to know who the person is, not just an article, because we've got so much information. We're in an information overload at the moment. So much information about COVID, about this, about that. Do a little video, personalize it. Remember, the person on the other side wants to get to know you a little bit more.
Correct. And the only way they're going to do it now is this kind of medium. So
Correct.
Let's say I'm opening my LinkedIn account for the first time. I've set up my profile. I've really thought long and hard about how to show my reputation. Who do I start with as growing my network? Because I also think from personally as well, I'm very committed to my LinkedIn and keeping the community informed. But sometimes you can get some very interesting links, like some gourmets and those kind of things. And, you know, there's also that decision as to who you accept into your network and who you don't. So first and foremost, who do I invite, and how do I invite someone to be part of my network, and who should I avoid bringing into my network, if at all?
Okay. So I always say that Facebook is people you know. LinkedIn is people you don't know yet. It's possible clients in terms of conversations, but first start with your existing client list. So invite your clients to say, I'm just wanting to share and collaborate what's happening in our business. Maybe there's some synergies, maybe there's some conversations that you're having that I can share. So the invitation should go to your existing clients. If you're, just an employee, connect with all your fellow colleagues, connect with your managers, connect with the people that you already know. I started with my colleagues, friends, and family. That's where I started my LinkedIn profile 10 years ago. Yes. It's about building up first of the people you know and trust, because LinkedIn has seen as the more professional platform, so people are a lot more scared of LinkedIn in terms of who do I connect to, all of those kinds of things. Are they going to see this? Are they going, the reason you're on LinkedIn is because you want people to see your public profile. So if you're if you're something that you don't want your competition to see, askies, they're going to see it anyway. They're probably stalking. So
exactly.
it really doesn't matter. This is the opportunity. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it's Spar, Pick and Pay, Woolies, Checkers. They've combined forces and saying we're in this together. So suddenly the competition between the different value chains have now come together and said, whatever it is, we're going to help you guys through this together. So this is an opportunity even to link up with some competition, and how can you drive value, and both of you or 3 or 4 companies can actually get. So you were mentioning earlier, if you're one person and you might not have capacity to be able to get the stock or get the services done, this is an opportunity to link up with your competition and see maybe you guys can get a bigger tender together, because you guys can all offer the services together. And there's different ways of utilizing LinkedIn. I would start though with the people you know and ask them for feedback. What do they think on your profile? Because sometimes what happens is that you see yourself in a certain way. And I think us women especially have this problem that we're very critical of ourselves and we don't want to tell people how awesome we actually are. So get a person that knows you fairly well to check out your profile, check your summary and say, actually, you're a little bit more awesome than what you think. And this is what I suggest that you add in. So, you know, from that perspective, start connecting with people you know and trust, and then start so that you can kind of build confidence in the system.
So one of the things I've seen done quite well and I've appreciated is I would see people following different posts, and when they saw something relevant or useful to someone in their network, they would tag it. And you know, thinking around that, that really talks to the good principles of networking. Networking is not just about what I can get out, it's how I can connect people in my network with other opportunities. And it seems to build goodwill as well within the LinkedIn platform, you as a trusted linker between people.
So that's a very good question. So linking people, even while I was in corporate, I mean, I've been doing this, connecting people. Are you pausing again? Sorry. Okay, so connecting people with other people has been something that I'm very passionate about as well, because, you know, having the right connections. So someone will ask you for a recommendation. Let's look at Facebook. You're in a community of Facebook, whatever, you know, Johannesburg community, you know, whatever the little suburb community groups, and someone asks for a plumber, okay? Then suddenly you've got a whole bunch of people, you know, doing this plumber, that plumber, but whoever gets recommended 2 or 3 times, that's the plumber you're going to phone first.
Yes.
LinkedIn is the same sort of scenario, because, you know, if people are recommending, they're meaning they're putting your name is being linked to that person, saying, I believe that this person can add value to your business. But do me a favor, if you're going to tag someone, make sure that the tag is a valid tag in terms of that you know that this person can add value in that situation, or you're just highlighting, guys, have a look, you know, see there is giving some, you know, processes or a free training or whatever that looks like. But when you are tagging someone, you're giving away not just that person's reputation, but your reputation is linked back to that person. So you need to make sure that that person can give value-added services and that they are good at what they're doing if you're saying that this person is a good person to work with. That's just the other side of it. But if you are going to tag people, just do the first thing that we spoke about in the beginning, make sure your profile is great first, and then start tagging people.
So yeah, and also making sure that whoever you're tagging, their profile is up to date and has a picture and all those things. And maybe just as one last wrap-up question from our side, etiquette in sending direct messages, do's and don'ts when you are now connected to someone and you start asking them or, you know, chatting to them via the message element of LinkedIn.
Okay, this is where I deep breath, because how often do we all get this message as soon as we connected, this whole 3-page paragraph on exactly how you can help. And oh yes, at times it's been exactly what I do, and those people are sending me messages saying I can help you with your LinkedIn leads. True story. So I wish it wasn't.
Do my own business. Okay.
Yes, okay. Yeah. I understand that some digital marketing companies actually need help with their own digital marketing, but I'm not one of those. I don't come up to your house. Like say, for instance, I'm a mechanic. I don't come to your house in an Uber because my car broke down. I actually utilize digital marketing to get my clients so that I know that it works first on my profile and my business before I test it on other clients' profiles, because otherwise, you know, the client is paying you money and, you know, vice versa, then you're suddenly, you know, it's just not fine. So ethically, that's what I do. But from a messaging perspective, guys, the first thing that you should do is just say, thanks for connecting. Have a super week. That's the first thing that you do. Don't wait 3 hours later because now they haven't responded. Now think about, before lockdown, how often were you on LinkedIn? Yeah. Okay. So because, I mean, maybe you and I have been on LinkedIn every day, but other people are not necessarily on LinkedIn every day. They're not on LinkedIn every week. They're not on LinkedIn every month. There's been times where I've said happy birthday to someone, and 8 months later they say, thank you so much. And I'm going, oh, dude, it's almost your birthday. Okay. So why are you saying thank you now? You know, do little things like say happy birthday, but add value in that birthday note. It's the little things that you can do. If there's an article that you believe your potential client or your client should read, pop them a message and say, oh, I saw this article and I thought of you and I thought this would be good to share. It's another way of really adding value in the inbox instead of trying to sell. Because every time you're doing something like that in the inbox, they come and have a look at your profile and say, oh yeah, who's Nolene again? There's been times where I've just posted or shared someone else's post. Someone will inbox me and say, I'm so glad you shared a post. I couldn't remember your name, but I know what you do. Please, can you help me with X, Y, Z? So the messaging in your inbox should not be salesy. I always tell people, you know, it's like walking in a mall. And walking in a mall is going to be a lot different after all of this. But anyway, walking in a mall, masks, and I'll be giving masks at the door. But as you're walking, you've got, you know, these people that are selling mops or Tupperware or whatever it is in the middle of the aisles or in the middle of the passages. You put your blinkers on, you don't make eye contact because you don't want to be sold to. So why are you doing it on LinkedIn and every other social media platform? We don't want to be sold to. We want to build relationships. We want to add value. And then once you've added value, then people will start saying, actually, I'm interested in your services. So just in context, in a social media space, it takes between 8 and 12 times before someone learns to trust you, to see your name, to see your content. Just because you've posted 12 times does not mean that they actually saw your posts. Let me just put that out there again as a reminder that they don't log on every day. They don't log on every week. They don't log on every month. But when they do log on, then they see your content and that starts to reinforce the trust into you and your brand. So consistency is another thing that you need to look at when you are putting your content out there. Don't just message someone and then 2 days later going, did you get my question? What do you think? And that's desperation, and then people actually unfriend you when you're doing that. So I unfriend people when they start on the 3rd or the 4th message within the same week. I just kind of go, thanks dude, love you, bye.
But as you say, you've got to build trust. You've got to build trust with your network and then almost let it take its natural course, as you would if you were actually cold calling someone. You know, a very hard sell call doesn't work anymore.
No, and cold calls don't work anymore anyway because of Poppy. So, you know, with Poppy coming into play, you're not going to necessarily get cold calls. So how else are you going to get to your clients or potential new clients? This is the tool. While I was in corporate, 80% of my leads were generated from my LinkedIn connections because I've learned how to do it myself. I learned not to do it. So I'm not one of those experts that's just gone onto some sort of training course and, you know, put it in and said, this is how you do it. I've learned by the mistakes and gotten very wonderful feedback that, you know, you shouldn't repeat on a call. But what you're wanting to do is learn from what messages work and what messages don't. You're not going to get it right in the beginning or maybe you will. But as you're tweaking your conversation, I mean, we have conversations with clients and they'll send me a message and I'll say, but that's too salesy. That you can't do that. I don't want to hear that my name is Nolene, I work at Ladybugs, I'm the MD, and this is what we do. Your LinkedIn profile should say all of that. It does. So that's why you're setting up your LinkedIn profile first. Then the message is, hey, Debbie, how are you doing? how are you coping during this time? Is there anything that, anyone I can connect you with that maybe you need some help with, coaching or wellness, or someone that so you're elevating somebody else at the same time, but then you are building the relationship. And that's what we're doing, during the 21-day, I don't know how long it's going to be, but during the 21-day lockdown, 4 o'clock every day, what we're doing is bringing in somebody else. I'm just facilitating the process. We're bringing in experts from the field on, how to unlock your mind during lockdown, how to, think about how to deal with the unknown, how to do fitness in a small little space. Yes, no, I did make my daughter do that one. I didn't do that one live. But it's little things where you're trying to add value. So when you are messaging someone, please make sure that you're adding value first. Don't put a sales pitch to it.
Yeah. Nolene, thank you very much. I think we could probably spend another hour on all the do's and don'ts and suggestions. I'm sure our audience will find this exceptionally practical. I know I have, and even being someone who's been on LinkedIn for a long time, I invite our audience to go and try their hand, get your profile 100%, and start using this very powerful business tool. And take the advice that Nolene has shared with us. We will share her details below. If you want any more one-on-one advice, I think there's probably a lot more that could be learned. And in this 21 days, we're not even halfway yet, but 1 week down today, I think there's a lot of opportunity around just introspection of your business and taking this time. And my gut feel says people are on LinkedIn now every day because they're home. So maybe this is the opportunity. Nolene, again, thank you very much. Tomorrow we will be joined by a Chief Procurement Officer for mining house called Afrimat. They have 80 mines across the country. He's a very good partner of Smart Procurement, and we'll just be sharing some advice from a supply chain perspective and as a business person as to what small businesses should be doing in this time. So Nolene, thank you very much. To our audience, we will see you in hopefully less than 24 hours to share some practical advice. Have a good afternoon.